Okay, my name is Roslyn Waswa. I work with Caritas Kavwe. I'm the project coordinator for Kumena project. At the time when I finished my college, I wanted to work with people, most especially the less fortunate people. So I went through websites, I went through asking people, and I found Caritas.
So we've been to some pretty remote places this week. In fact, one of the drivers said that one of the roads we went on was created by Caritas.
Yes. It's very important that we reach those people because they have reached a time in their lives when they have lost hope because no one reaches them. They feel marginalized. They feel that they are not important in life. For us as Caritas, we take Caritas as a home of love. And we would want to reach where others can't reach because there is a life we need to save. There is a soul crying out for help.
My name's Aisling Gallagher and I am the Zambia Programme Officer here at SCIAF. I began working with the Kumena project in May 2019. So I guess that question is for Rose, for Gertrude and for Nicholas because So we work with partner organisations because we believe that they're best placed to support the communities. They understand the context much better than I do here in Glasgow. They would sit with the communities to identify the key challenges that they're facing, come back to us at SCIAF, and then together, collectively, we would think about what activities would address those challenges. My first trip to Kumena was in August 2019, and at that time the country had experienced a drought, a severe drought. The rainy season in Zambia is usually from November till March time, and the rain that year hadn't come, and I found a really difficult situation.
Bakuto kwikateka tafetundu twabene kurusha batshani baliye bantu nsarare ngo muntu kuyamkuiba bakutyalie cyakuri nomba apo bao na ngufya life yawo kontashinga tayawe tware turasana emiriro abana bareikala eminori abalira fye once pede balira fye limo pede abana abo mungo mufyashiro mwafyashi umwana kashi nale umfo kubipirwa sana nale muna tubishabana bandi nala basunga shani batime kadi abana ngatabare kwanisho ko limbi umwana kucyalelira fye ekereferense so nale umfo bubisanda fya no pali no shtawe nali bana alikuwa tensansa domfo abwino. Batabana maninda kwanisho kwa pere fya kudya every day baradia mikuitatu a day aho ndeye mfokutinti muntungwa netona vero buntunga pantu bintu na fingwa mina pona ngida family bakata zivindo fya lingwa mina pali ida stanshali muntungwa naleka kwana ngundenda shale wo muntungwa no pali no standi muntungwa pansala dintapula mofi nangunyapa kutapula mofi ndeli amashu tukwasira Scotland man tuletotela kofya bareta ko i program pati program bareta ko ya Caritas Kavwe nayo tufumya mu bucyushi yatubika pasuma wati kurosha kuri nayo imbika pasuma na kubana bonse yandeta pasuma na kumirire fye konse nangunimbarera njamo fye so bekaleka batwarire tuletotela kusira muri bena.
We have trained our participating farmers in a number of activities, in value addition, in marketing, changing something from its original status into something that is more valuable than it was before. And we have also trained them in animal husbandry, participatory guarantee system, which is a certifying body as organic producers. And we have also trained them in leadership, quite a number of skills that enables them to find alternative ways to survive even when they are facing some other challenges. But with the skills that have been given, it becomes so easy for them to find other alternative means to survive.
So in total, the Kamena project is worth £1.8 million, and the funding has come from the Scottish Government.
Scotland's obviously got its own problems and its own challenges with poverty and deprivation, and the primary focus of my government is to address these issues. But we have to see things in a relative space. The circumstances in Scotland are not as challenging as they are for people in other countries. So there's a moral responsibility on all of us to make sure that we do what we can to support others. So therefore, I think it's an important part of the policy commitments of the Scottish Government that we are involved in international development activity, that we are supporting communities through strong programmes that we deliver on the ground, and we deliver programmes on the ground in a number of countries where we're trying to essentially build up the resilience and the capacity of communities to thrive in sometimes very difficult circumstances.
Climate change has really impoverished people here in Zambia, especially the poorest. Sometimes we would have floods that really affects the crop, and sometimes we would have dry spell or droughts, and it's very hard to predict what will come. And so people will put in a lot of effort in the farming, and they end up losing their crop due to various climatical changes that they face.
Communities that we're working with are small-scale rural households, and the biggest challenge that they're facing at the moment is food and also water.
We live in a world of just incredible inequality, and the difference between those who are well provided for and those who do not have sufficient food to live on is just enormous.
People really suffer. Others even die due to hunger. Yeah, so it's really, really difficult for people. It's very hard, I must say. It's really, really hard, but we keep on encouraging people to put in their effort, and we encourage them to get involved with other things, but still not to lose their faith in God, because some of them will tell you, we don't even know if God is really present, because if at all He was present in our lives, we wouldn't be facing what we are facing now.
I think if faith is about anything, it's about understanding that the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and whether we like it or not, we are relatively affluent. I know people are going through times of austerity, and that's made a huge dent on people's standards of living in this country, but I still think most people would be surprised if they visited one or two of the small villages in Africa where SCIAF's working, to see the level of deep poverty that people live under.
Well, I first got involved with SCIAF, it might be 10 years ago. Val Morgan, who used to work for SCIAF, always wanted adverts made for the Wee Box Appeal. And we were chatting away one day, and he said, you know, you must come on one of our trips one time. I said, well, you know, let me know if there's something that comes up. And so we ended up going to Zambia in 2017, and you know, that obviously is a different level of involvement, and the outcome of that was to try and do as much publicity and broadcast about the trip.
It's very interesting for me because it's about the third different day that I've been out in the countryside and meeting people. And you read these raw statistics when you're at home about people living in poverty under $1 a day. doesn't mean very much. But then when you come out to these places as well, you think, well, really, are these people really living in poverty? Because it's a beautiful setup, there's food cooking over there. But then you realise there's a shower over here behind me, which involves people going in and getting a bucket thrown over them, because there is no running water in these houses, there is no electricity. So when we're talking about people's poverty, we're talking about very real issues and people living at a very basic level. And although they're doing better, they're still way behind the expectations of lifestyle that we would have in Scotland.
I was kind of working on a solo record when I came back. This song, At My Weakest Point, I'd had some music for it, and I thought, well, I don't quite know where this is going, you know? And then I just remembered Vanessa. Sometimes with all these projects, it's just individuals that stick out. You just remember particular people. And she was just this woman that I thought, well, she's got an interesting story, her story of water, you know. I want someone who can save you. I want someone that behaves for you. Somebody makes you feel like getting. It's really a conversation almost to her. I haven't sung it for ages, so I have to kind of look at my words again. I want someone who can hold you. Someone who's not afraid to scold you. Never say the thing. It's a sort of wish list in some ways too. You know, may you have love, may you have love and joy. Everything I'd wish for at my weakest point. You know, I think that you realise that the things that, you know, the things that you take for granted are so many. May you have love. May you have love and joy. Everything I'd wish for at my weakest point. It really is, you know, incredible how many things that we just switch on or take off the shelf or turn on the tap. Everything I'd wish for at my weakest point. Obviously SCIAF works from Scotland, but they have great partners that are working out in all these places, and amazing people that are working who kind of know the problems, who can focus SCIAF and say, well, this is what we're really interested in doing. And some of that can be feeding people, or is about educating people, or is about health programs, but it's specifically focused on where the need is. And I think what SCIAF does very well is to listen to the voices of people who are based in places like Rwanda, in the DRC, in Zambia, where I've been, and actually listen to what's needed.
The Kumena project is a very holistic project, and it's been designed following SCIAF's integral human development approach. And so this approach looks at the person as a whole. It looks at the economic aspects, it looks at social, it looks at spiritual, it looks at political and environmental. And the project has been designed to try and address these different components. At my weakest point, everything I'd wish for at my weakest point.
I mean, it was like a war within me, a war, yeah. To become a priest, or to do something else, or maybe to get married and have my own children and bring up my own, you know, your family. But, you know, in the end, God won, and that's how I got attracted to Salesians, and I became a priest, yes. I'm Clement Mulenga, Salesian Don Bosco, the Bishop of Kabwe Diocese. Kabwe is in the central province of Zambia, so we are like the center of the country, right in the center of the country. We have a number of communities in Kabwe. Kabwe used to be a mining town, but when the mine closed down, that brought in a lot of problems. You know, people became jobless, and their incomes really went down drastically. And this is the situation in which we are at the moment. They haven't really recovered. There's also the problem of lead poisoning in Kabwe, which is one of the worst in the whole world. Yeah, it's one of the worst. Yeah, so it's a battle that we are dealing with, and there are many communities where people are living, but they are very, very poor.
Awo ulwere ero bwaishire tatwaishibe awo balume bandu bena basobola basenda nomba after that efo babana bampishenye mu hospital kusamukunsanga so nomba nomuti nali ambokuno myaka ndi wa 1958 so nkwete 65 neshukuru akwata pano bali 4 but bonse pamo baba 11 kulya kwali kwa kushupa limbiri mopshenga mwali anishukuti mailo chakuwaya waya pia tunachanda ati mwachita ukapiswe kipilia no kuwa mfobu mfilia.
It is challenging, yeah, because it also affects me as a bishop. Yeah, because I mean, they expect me as a bishop to do something about it, yes. So to help them, this is the reason why we have Caritas, Kabwe, which is the developmental wing of the church here in Zambia, or quite saving in the world, but which also helps us to reach out to the poor.
The project has had many different activities delivered, and one of the key focuses has been on supporting people to have enough food to eat. And the project's done this by teaching people to farm following agroecological principles. It's taught them to use what they have rather than to use chemicals. It's worked on enriching the soil. It's worked on providing livestock to people so they can create manure to apply to the land. This has been highly successful, and we're now seeing that people have enough food for them and their families.
Wali wakuwaya kabiri support yakutukwanishe bwino yaleshuka nomba through ba Caritas au batwimya mwandeni through ba Caritas ro bayishire batwingisha batupira nembushi so ishimbushi manyowa turatwara mabala kwalima mona mataba nkwete achi so nomba mkwikala shashi nenda bakuti mwasende embushi mwashitisha panono na mabanzi kwamba okupanga mupusana kulipo nubu akalepa kuti ukwate fempia chale shupa so this time echo ndefo ya kutati mayo kuya kutauni kuti na yafe na ashitecho ndefo ya na aleta ngamina ni na amkushita nganinama so ukuchira bali abekara mtauni akwetu ikara kuno kulabachira no kubachira so ndakuna kwati kupusana kwene povuti ndala mashena tachile shupa ma kuli atukali ya kachero breakfast lunch chongolation yekuchira fili akale twaleta fenga mwali akachero ni shichapo
That's a tricky one, the highlights of this project. I'm a soil scientist and I'm mad enthusiastic about soil, so when I can see changes that we can make to the soil having advantages and benefits to people wherever they are in the world, that for me is a real highlight. My name's Dr. Paul Hargreaves. My role is a researcher and I also do a small amount of lecturing here at SIUC Barony campus. Having healthy soil is the key to be able to produce good, nutritious crops. And if we're losing the ability of the soil to do that, then we're going to be in crisis very quickly. I became involved in 2018 with SCIAF, and that's when we decided what we were focused on. And initially it was how contaminated the soils. Next question was how can we improve these? It was to look at changing some of the systems on those farms to incorporate more organic matter into the soil, so to help promote a healthier soil and a more sustainable soil for these farms. Thankfully, as far as the lead contamination was concerned, that was at a low level and wouldn't really cause any worries as far as health was concerned. So I was very relieved about that. However, nutrient-wise, the soils were relatively poor, and as far as soil organic matter, was concerned, it was also very low, at between 1.5% and 2%. Whereas if you consider in Scotland, the levels of organic matter between 5 and 10%. So you can see there's a considerable difference there. Well, over the course of the project, what we'd found by the time we resampled in 2022, that the organic matter had increased in the soils. They were moving up towards 2 to 3%. Enough to show that we were on the right track, that what was happening, what the farmers, smallholders were doing, were heading the soil organic matter in the right direction.
My name is Agre Luvira. I'm 48 years. Yes, and I'm married and 6 children. We joined Caritas. We had a lot of challenges. Amongst the challenges that we used to have, financial challenges. We used to depend on chemical fertilizer, which is, of course, was still too expensive now. We never used to have enough food to eat, because probably of the way we used to do our farming. But after Caritas Kawe had come here, they taught us a lot of things.
I think it's absolutely vital that we strengthen the capacity and the ability of individuals to have more control over their life and to be able to thrive and to prosper and to gain in strength. So that means that you've got to equip people with the tools to be able to do that. So if all of our international aid is simply about handing out short-term relief, I don't think that fits the bill.
They taught us how to make organic manure that we didn't even know. Yes, so that assistance has actually gone a long way. Yes. We don't have difficulties with food. As you can see, we have some maize here, we have some maize here, as you can see. So we don't have all those problems like with food after Caritas. We make peanut butter ourselves, then we sell. Yes, instead of selling raw groundnuts, we put it into a finished product. Yes.
I think at the moment they have even managed to come up with brands for themselves, so that at least they are easily identified even when you go into ShopRite or any other supermarket. It feels good, especially when you enter a supermarket, then you find the product coming from the far rural community, especially in an area where you've been operating from. It feels so nice, sure.
Farmers, as everybody, they're nosy. If they see somebody doing something good and getting better results from them in the next field, they're going, yeah, I wonder how he's doing that. How are you doing that? That's, you've obviously made a change here and it's working. Can you tell me? And it starts to spread then, and more people then get the resilience in the soil, they get more yield, potentially profits then from selling excess of their products, as well to form an income. So you're starting to sustain the economy as well and put resilience into that.
Bwiyo wandi bwire nachishapo okubomba kwakutati in future nangona paso abana bashala tawo bamayo nichi bachitirepo awe nende tashafya abantu epashiri pakuleka umutima bakwata bapitirire wakwako abantu epashiri pakuleka mwanje tuletasha banono eko bafuma kutati so mukatutashisheko kwanti ati baletasha bebwerere enuma to go forward. Yeah, I'm quiet.
She's saying there are a few that can do that. So she's saying, please, when you go back.
One component that was added into Kamena was all of our work focusing on gender, the value of women and girls, and really focusing on attitudinal change towards women and girls within the communities. We have volunteer teachers across Kamena who are working with women in particular, and the women that I met spoke about the literacy class as being the most valuable component of the project to them.
ninebo kafundisha kuri aba ba women bana mayo turasambirisha kofya kuishibo kuberenga no kulemba wala isa tulemberako ana mulembe fikalamba tabale mona bali class buli Twamune sialemba nine. Balembe shiwisha pa? Seka. Bonse to tuishi beni fifine? Epala be shibile ko mumbi? Mutotele niko.
So hapa ndakondo maningi kai muntu na wampa buku. Nandalanga bule ndateka kubelenga. Ndali nyumfa kaboto. Lwiyo lero kaindamu bakatwisha ma saving then alimwe then bakatwisha kulikwisha bale bantu babatachio kubelenga bakatupa teacher so group yonse bamutabalengo chio kubelenga akulemba batu bachishiba twakachana malwiyo lo.
I met with women who said that before the project they didn't feel like they had a voice and that they felt like they had nothing to add. I also spoke with a woman who said to me that the greatest pleasure in her life was now that she was able to read the Bible as a result of going to the literacy classes. I was so honoured to be with those women and to hear their stories and to hear about how this component of the project had really changed their lives.
Ano hapa mpotoka njira momo ndabona shintu shangu da untungulu shinda nyufaka botu kaenda chikonsha ruchafo kuvene Scotland nitolusenga kwamba banchafulishe tebabona mangandangu montokona.
People often get the impression that charities are going out to solve big disasters and just feed people, I think what I saw with SCIAF was there was also just ongoing support to allow people to make change for themselves. Yes, we like to think that our money goes into sort of sometimes saving people's lives, that happens, but the ongoing support for development is I think, probably as important, if not maybe more important than sometimes some of that emergency stuff.
Our approach to helping people is not handouts, but skills, giving them skills, because no one teaches them, but Caritas offers them those skills.
I think our approach is very sound and clear in the sense that our approach is more of empowering with the knowledge and the skills. I would want to see a community being changed from the lifestyle of dependability into a lifestyle of being changing agent.
You don't need to do very fancy pieces of work that need lots of machinery and lots of extra chemicals and new fertilizers and things like that. Really going back to the basics, ensuring that your soil is in good health, using the materials that you've got on farm is as credible and as useful as anything. I think looking after people's livelihoods is crucial, and it empowers people to be able to feed themselves. It gives them that resilience, it gives them that pride in what they're doing, and the real thrill of thinking, I've grown this and it's worked well here, and we're feeding myself and other people off the back of this.
The change I've seen in the people that I've met has been absolutely unbelievable. People's lives have completely transformed and they are now flourishing. When I met people in 2019, they were very much at their lowest, and people spoke about feeling full of despair. And now people are living their lives and aren't worrying about tomorrow or the next day, aren't worrying about their children and their grandchildren, because their lives have changed for the better, and they know that this change will continue. Before they said they couldn't stand on their own 2 feet, and now they said that they are strong and they are shining.
I think I would be very happy if I see the farmers that we are working with, they start extending their hands to others who are in need. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Previously, we would go to those communities and we will carry something for them. But for now, they are the ones who give us something, and you really feel nice, you know? We've seen people who will say, when we see Caritas vehicle, we see life, because of the transformation that Caritas have proven to them. Like, they have just changed their lives.
The people in Scotland, we are very, very thankful. We are very, very grateful for their support. So to them, a thumbs up, and they should continue supporting us. With their support, I'm sure we'll be able to be okay in future. Yeah, so we are very, very grateful to the Scottish people in this government.
SCIAF was started because some people in the Catholic community wanted to make a difference in the world, and that is surely the absolute centre of faith, to make a difference in the world, to enhance the lives of others.
I want to take this opportunity to appreciate the people of Scotland for the great support that we have received as donations and funding from the Scottish government, because that support and their contribution has saved lives here in Zambia. We have seen people grow from having just 3 meals in a week to having 3 meals in a day. And for that, we are very grateful to the people of Scotland.
There's a man I meet, walks up our street. He's a worker for the council, has been 20 years. And he takes no lip of nobody and litter off the gutter. Puts it in the bag and never thinks to mutter. And he packs his lunch in a Sunday's bag. The children call him Boogie. He never lets on, but I know 'cause he once told me. He let me know a secret about the money in his kitty. He's gonna buy a dinghy, gonna call her Dignity. And I'll sail her up the west coast, through villages and towns. I'll be on my holidays, they'll be doing the rounds. They'll ask me how I got it, I'll say, I saved my money. I say, isn't she pretty? That ship called Dignity. And I'm telling this story in a faraway sea, sipping down raki and reading Maynard Keynes. And I'm thinking about home and all that that means, and a place in the winter for dignity. And I'll sail up the west coast, through villages and towns. I'll be on my holidays, they'll be doing the rounds. They'll ask me how I got it, I'll say, I saved my money. I say, isn't she pretty? That ship called Dignity.
So we've provided pigs, we've provided goats and also chickens. And these are given on a pass-on scheme. So when the pigs reproduce, the piglet. So when the pigs reproduce, the piglet is passed on. Stop. The piglet.
Set it up, 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 set it up. Set it up again, set it up again, set it up again, set it up again. And I'm thinking about home
What?
And I shook all dignity. I shook all dignity. That's true.
He's a madman.